Tuanze. Mimi naenda straight to the point. No, honestly. Niangalia kamera gani? Hello guys and welcome to the Mental Health Show with me, Washirage Konyo. Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. And those who are watching us live on Facebook, please make sure that you have commented. And of course, like and share to as many people as possible. As usual, it's always nice to see you. Karibuni sana kwa show. Make sure you have commented, you have liked, and you have shared to as many people as possible. We are right here at Showtime Cinema Nyeri. We are located at Pumpkin House, 4th floor. And of course, we do have a studio where we do take photos. We also take videography. We also have live streaming. And of course, as usual, we have our panelists here. And I'm sure you have seen Frank in the previous episode where we got to discuss about mental health in general. So today we have a wider panel. We have two beautiful ladies who have joined us today, and you know that we are on the holiday break. We have our kids at home, so it's the perfect time to discuss about parenthood. So tell us there, Paco, comments. How has it been with you as a parent, and of course you as a child, as you are in the holiday? Tell us, how has it been? What has your relationship been with your parents or your guardians? Make sure you comment right there on our live stream. So pale hivi social media, please make sure that you have participated and you have shared to as many people as possible. So you're going to go straight into to today's topic, and which is about parenthood and how we can build a better relationship with our children. And of course, we the kids at home, and of course those people who are during who are in the holiday, how they can build a good relationship with their parents. So I'm going to start from my far right. She's going to introduce herself and of course tell us what she does, and of course we are going to pass the microphone on.
Hello, Jennifer.
Hello everyone, thank you a lot to Ashera and Showtime Cinema. My name is Frank Boma, a counseling psychologist and also a mentor. And apart from that, I also do mental health talks and psychoeducation in institutions like schools, churches. So, welcome to today's show.
All right, so the microphone is going to, I don't know if the Kaman is a speaker, so you're going to use this microphone, and of course, maybe you can introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Arianna, and I'm a fashion and interior designer. Nice to be here. Thank you.
All right, so we are going to go straight to today's topic, and I have said that this is the perfect time to discuss this parenthood topic. So we're going to go straight to asking what generally parenthood is. So somebody would want to know the difference between parenthood and parenting. Nasikia kuna watu wanaambia wanaweza pata watoto lakini they cannot be parents. So I'm pretty sure our audience wants to know the difference between parenthood and also parenting.
Okay, thank you so much. So, parenting and parenthood, they correlate. But now parenthood is just the act of bringing new life to the world. The act of just giving birth to that kid, that's parenthood. But parenting in short, it's a verb. A verb explains, it's a doing word. So parenting, apart from bringing those kids into the world, it comes with the responsibilities. All the responsibilities involved, creating warmth, creating safe environment, providing. As a parent, you are a counselor, you are a teacher, you are a security officer. You provide all the needs, not only basic, but all the needs to that kid. As you encourage him or you guide him towards the journey to adulthood, all that transition, what you do in between, that's what's parenthood.
Parenthood.
Yeah.
All right, so he has explained and said that parenthood is generally offering security, discipline, and all that to a child. So does it mean that a person who hasn't given birth can give parenthood? It doesn't have to be somebody who has. It is not uzazi ukulea si kupata tu mtoto tu. I don't know how I can phrase that.
Yeah, sure. That's very true. That's why they say parenthood or parenting doesn't come with a manual or a guide. It doesn't come with it. You can be a mother, you can be a father, but someone who has never maybe given birth or who doesn't have children, he can be a good mother, he can be a good father. That's why we have these house managers. For example, there was this case in Saudi Arabia. You saw that lady who she was about to come to Kenya. how the kids behaved,
Yes.
how the kids were embracing her. They didn't want to let her go. So you'll find maybe in that family, the mother's not there, the mother was not present, the father was not present. But now the house manager was ever present. That's why you see how the kids reacted. And you see many likes, many love messages went to that lady. Yeah, so that's parenthood.
Okay. So people would want to know maybe some skills that we can apply, some positive skills of good parenting. Good parenthood, right?
Yeah.
Good parenthood, because you obviously know that you want to have a good relationship with our children back at home. So maybe somebody can give us maybe just a few tips of good parenthood.
Yeah, on that, I think it's good to make your children your best friend. You should be best friends. That why they can open up to you in any situation. Like even when they like teenagers, you know, they want to get boyfriend and stuff. She or he will come to us, mom, is it okay? And you can guide them on that. So yeah, this guy, I think that it's very important to make them your best friend.
Okay, so we know that, especially you've talked about teenagers. We know that teenagers get a little bit complicated. It's not the same way where you come home and your 2-year-old wants to hug you. Mommy is at home. It gets to a point where your child will probably not even want to see your face. They'll be like, I don't want mommy calling me. They even put a poster on the door. They're like, do not come in. So how do you make your child your best friend, especially the teenagers? Because you know that it gets complicated as they grow old and they want to become independent. So how do you make your child a best friend?
I think you should listen to them. Whatever they say, listen and make notes, because sometimes they talk when they're angry and they can just say something and ignore. Listen. From there, you can start the communication little by little, and yeah, you can make a great friendship.
Okay, so where do we draw the line between in giving them the independence that they want and being a strict mom? Because you know you have to regulate them at some point. We don't want them to feel really restricted as our children, and of course you also want them to have their own type of independence but still want to control their behavior. Maybe Arianna can talk about that. I'm pretty sure that you have a sister who is a teenager and I'm pretty sure you can talk about that. How do you draw a line between giving them their independence and of course being a strict guardian?
I feel like for me, using my relationship with my sister, I don't know if this is a normal approach with everyone, but in our family, we try to be friends with the kids even when they're kids. So with my sister, there wasn't like, we didn't really discipline her when she was doing the wrong thing. We would train her when she was doing the right thing. So we've always been like step by step with her. So we've always just been like, when she's doing the right things, we're just like, good girl, this is awesome, you know, this is epic, you should be doing this more. And then when she does something wrong, now we're not talking about when she's a teenager, we're talking about when she was a child. Because if you don't start from when she's a child, you cannot speak to her as a teenager. So it was us creating this relationship with her while she was still a baby, that to the point when she's evolving as a teenager, you can be able to talk to her, but because there was trust that was created initially, she's gonna listen. You see, a lot of parents nowadays, you totally don't create a relationship with the child when they're young, but as a teenager, you try to intervene. It's never gonna work, because first of all, as a teenager, you become a foreign person to them. You need to understand at some point you're going to become a foreigner. You're going to be saying everything wrong. You're going to say, don't go clubbing, don't dress like that, don't do that. But with my sister, I feel like, because we've often been with her step by step, like even when I'm doing things, even when I'm getting like lectured and stuff, she'll be there, she'll listen to it, she'll hear like, no, don't do this, don't do this. And as a result, I feel like we are able to get to her even as a teenager, because it's about trust. She can trust us. She can come to me and say, Arianna, I have a boyfriend and I really like this person. How do I deal with it? Because she can trust me, and she knows that I'm not going to approach it from like, it's not going to be confrontational like war. You know, the way as parents, we like we put war in everything. But it was, for me, I feel like every parent should really try to nurture a relationship with their child from when they're children. And because that's the only way you can talk to them as teenagers.
Yes.
Otherwise, you end up having a gap.
Yes, exactly. So as Arianna has said, I think it's very important to build trust between you and your child. That the child can approach you just with any topic. They can talk to you with such topics such like, let's say, such as I have a boyfriend and anisumbua. You can literally talk to your mom or to your dad about anything. Now that brings us to our next discussion: disciplining our children.
life by the creator. So you are like a bridge, you are like a connector. So they just come through, you are like a path, you just provided. So what's needed here, you have to inspire your children. Just inspire them, try to show them love from their stages of development. Let's say from day one to age to 1 year.
Yes.
There are things you should do as a mother or as a father. There's what called, you can create either trust or mistrust to a kid. As Arianna said, they created that trust. So at this day 1 to 1 year, what children need or what a child needs, that's the infancy stage. He needs only breastfeeding. So once you breastfeed or you provide that breastfeeding milk to that kid, he'll know I'm coming to a world which is secure, which is safe. I'm going somewhere where people will trust me and also trust people. But once you deny that kid that privilege, because fine, there are mothers, a kid may be crying there, but you're just there doing your house chores, maybe washing utensils, doing what. But once a kid starts crying, that means there is something wrong. She needs your attention. Maybe she's hungry, maybe the diaper is full. So you have to attend that kid. So get to that kid and see, maybe she just wants to feed that kid. She will create trust from that day one. So as she or he's growing up, she know now I'm in a world which is safe, which is secure. But once you don't attend that, a kid will develop what's called mistrust. And later now, atakuwa kona deni, she will want to fill that gap. And for her to fill that gap, there are some certain personality, like this kid will be greedy. Because hakunyonya kutosha. So she want to satisfy that need since akiwa mdogo. To fulfill, to satisfy herself. So atakuwa greedy. You give them something like maembe, unapatia moja moja, huyu anataka like 10. Because there is something akona deni. So parents fail from day one. Or if you want to bring your children upright, you start from day one. Don't wait till the day or they get to teenagers. Up utakuwa umefail.
Yes,
so
yes.
start from day one. Yeah.
Yeah, we know that there's a point in life where children will get to the, what do you call it, terrible too, where a child will go, where a child will just, just go over the roof, they're disturbing you, you have your own stresses. So now let's talk about parenting stress, the parent stress, how you deal with the parenting stress, because you know that sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes, for me, I'm not saying that I don't love my children, but sometimes I don't like my children. I love them, but I just don't want them to be all over me. You're tired, you're depressed. So it is okay not to like your children sometimes, but it doesn't mean that you don't love them. Sometimes you want your own time, you're dealing with your own personal issues. So how do we handle parenting stress as parents? Because you have to look at it two-way. It's not just about the children, it's about we children, how we can balance our mental health so that we are able to handle our children in the best way possible.
Yeah, on that, I think you should let your children know that you trust them with every decision they make. So from there, they know when they are doing wrong thing and when you're serious, when you're not serious. So if you tell them, guys, I need to go rest, they'll go
They'll understand.
away and let you. And sometimes it's just too much. You can just ask someone to look after them and have your day off.
Yes.
It's okay. It's very okay. Because we're human. Sometimes we get tired.
Yes, sometimes mothers
kids are frustrating. So you just start crying and from nowhere. Umpembeleze. You give everything. Like you just want to slap her face, but you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that because it's not right. You correct your children with so much love and stuff. So sometimes it's just okay to leave the scene and go have your time.
Yeah.
And come back you're sober.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Yes, Frank.
Okay, I think another thing is don't try to be a super parent. Don't try to be a super mom or a super dad. what you should know is that despite you coming early, the difference between I think a kid and a parent is that you just came before them in this world. You come before them, and you coming before them doesn't mean that you are more intelligent than them.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that. But now you try to correct every aspect of the kid, but nurture that kid. Try to show him or her ways. Tell them if this is something wrong, tell him this is wrong. You're not supposed to do this. Next time, if you want to do this, go try this. So give him or her options. Once you try giving her option, at least that's next time she won't repeat the same mistakes. So utakuwa at least umekuwa ile stress relieve. So at least try to explain everything to them. Usijaribu kuwa no, I want to be a super dad, I want these kids. No, just try to create that safe environment. Let them trust you, embrace them, show them that motherly care.
Yes.
Hapo utakuwa umeachieve. But once you try to show them now I'm a super mama, I'm a super dad, no, try to show them ways how they'll grow up in this environment or in today's society. And then another thing, stop comparing. You find out today's all our African moms tell, si wakati wetu tulikuwa tunafanywa hivi. No, that was your era.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we are in Gen Z. So huwezi pata mtoto mwenye amelelewa na Cerelac na wewe ulikula ugali huko wa Kisiagi ikuwe the same. So stop comparing. The more una compare sasa ndio utakuwa na stress. So explain to them. Na the time una explain usiwache mtoto na question like asking why. Maybe you told me don't dress this way. Tell him I don't want you to dress this way because of A, B, C, D. But once you tell her don't dress this way, kwa roho atajiuliza why. So she'll go outside for her to get that answer of why, that why question.
Yes.
Na you answer itakuja in form of let's say in some of physical maybe kitu imeonekana. Let's say umemwambia usidress vibaya, hujamwambia kwa nini. Ameenda hapo, she has come with a pregnancy. You see now she has answered that question. So explain to her, explain to him. Ajue nikifanya hivi the repercussions zitakuwa so and such and such.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the Bible, we are normally told, spare the rod, spoil the child. Now, we're still on reinforcement. I mean, I know it's disciplining a child. So, some parents will think that if I use a cane or if I use physical strength on my child, that's going to correct them because they're going to feel the pain and that pain will always ring in their head. Every time they want to do that, they'll always remember the pain. Some parents will turn to shouting, oh my goodness, when you are preparing your child in the morning to go to school, my dear mothers, you know how it goes. Your child has totally refused to take breakfast. They have refused to wear the uniform, and the only thing you have been, and you have to go to work at the same time. So you find yourself going, being having all the tantrums in the world. But let me ask something. Is it a good way to use for physical, physical like kuchapa mtoto, like beating a child or shouting at them or scolding them? Is it always the best way? Is it always a good way to correct a child? And if we have to do it, to what levels are we supposed to do it? Arianna, maybe you can tell us, because I'm pretty sure you can actually tell us, because she has actually lived outside Kenya, so she can also tell us how she saw other parents doing it in Australia, and of course how we do it in Kenya, because it's like the Australian perspective, the Western perspective, and the African perspective, and of course how it's coming to conflict the parenthood today.
From general observance of what I have been looking at generally, is that the difference between Western countries and Kenya is that when it comes to parenting and discipline with Western countries, they don't understand discipline per se as beating the child so that they can learn the lesson. They understand it like, this is a love language of me telling you, if you do this, this is gonna like injure you. What I mean is, with the Western mentality, is that their parents are like, you see, can I use like soldiers in military? You see, when you're a soldier in military, because my father was a soldier, you're taught complete obedience. There's this like childlike thing. You're supposed to behave like you have no mind somehow, but somehow you have a mind. You see, what the sergeant does in an army is not beat you up every time you polish your shoe wrong. He'll just come and say, you didn't polish it right. Until the day you measure in the right way, that's when the sergeant will say, now you polished your shoe right. Well, in Kenya, what we have is police. We have police as parents. Mzazi, hata badala kufunze, you see, a sergeant will train you how to do it. Mzazi wa Kenya ni police. Anangoja ufanye vibaya, akugonge, badala kufunze. And so, what I've noticed is, there's a very thin line between abuse in African parenting And there's also a very thin line between neglect in Western parenting. But where it comes in between is that what I've realized is that Western parents would create a relationship with their children from when they were young. And what I mean by this is there's a sense of like Kenyan parents, they make decisions because hata wamekuwa tu exist. They're surviving. They're not following their purpose, their meaning, you see a white parent, for instance, the dad used to own a boat, and then the son will own the boat, and then the child will own the boat. Mzazi Mwafrika aja admit hata anapenda boat. Boat ni part time. So you see, if you deny who you are, automatically there's the denial of who your child will turn out to be. And so what happens in African parenting is that you see a lot of African parents are not self-aware of who they are. So they're not actively raising their children according to who they are. They're raising them, wache kunisumbua, unyamaze, wache kunifanyia maisha ngumu. So it's like, mi nitakugonganisha usiponyamaza.
Yeah, it's a threat.
I wish ungekuwa tu like, you would approach this kid and you realize, you see, if you accept yourself, the way Devi and Eva do it, I admire them. Because Devi and accept photography, Eva and accept showtime, yeah? They work together. Automatically, if they went and zoned out at home, their kids are not thinking daddy is being distant and nini. Because these kids, they want to do what daddy is doing, what mom is doing. Because dad and mom seem to enjoy what they're doing. So they're following. So hata Ivaki kuja home aseme, mi nimechoka by then nataka kulala. You'll be surprised the kids will not fight you.
True. And
You'll be so surprised.
true.
Because kids want to admire you. They want to be like you. They want to follow you. They enjoy. They want to see you having pleasure with what you're doing. But if you deny who you are, utakuja nyumbani, because sasa wewe umekasirika, juko kwa job mbaya, boss wako amekuharibia siku, utatolea nani? Huyo mtoto. Automatically ukiingia kwa nyumba, you're scaring that kid. You don't even know. Because automatically uko na energy ya usinisumbue na usinisumbue at all. Usinikaribie, sitaki kujua kwa nini. Just stay away. And I feel like that's what makes the difference between like African parenting and Western parenting. Is that I feel like Western parents have a sense of self-awareness, they follow their careers, their purposes, their nini. So they enjoy raising their kids. Kwa kupata watoto is this is the love of my life. I'm enjoying having this kid because she's gonna help me with my career. We know we are one person. If I'm quiet, she's quiet. If I'm still, I'm still. And I feel like I've been raised like that by my dad too. Like sometimes I'll see him just quiet and he'll see me just quiet, but we get each other totally because we do the same thing.
Yeah.
And tumekuwa pamoja. I'm always in the car since I was a kid. Nenda na dad, nenda na mom, nenda na dad, nenda. So I totally get them. My mom will come at home and she'll be like, mi leo nataka milango zote zifungwe, mniondoke. But I get it. Because I want to be like her. And I know one day I'll have a day like that. But I also watch some people, some of my cousins when wazazi wao sasa wako distance, doing nothing that is relatable. And you can feel there's a big difference. Because hakuna your relationship. Because hawezi discipline mtoto bila relationship, itakuwa abuse. I don't know how you're gonna define it. You can use the Bible, you can say spare the rod, spoil the child. You can say, oh, you know, I'm the adult, I have way more experience. You can use all these things you want to quote, but at the end of it all, if you're not self-aware of who you are, you're not going to create a relationship with your child. And after that, everything is just going downhill. Even tu utafika 18, udiscover ile damage ulifanya.
Kweli. And of course, the mentality of some parents here, like kwenye walitoka background yao pia, unapata like kwa sababu African, shosho yangu alichapa mamangu, mamangu anichape pia.
Lazima
so,
uchapwe.
Yeah, exactly.
Si kila mtoto akuchapa. Kuna wakuongeleshwa,
yes.
As a teacher. Kuna mtoto wa kuongeleshwa, kuna wa kuchapwa, na kuna pia wa kumnyamazia.
Exactly.
Watoto ni different. But tukitumia to spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah.
Utapiga ule mwenye achapangu. Hiyo ni abuse.
Exactly.
Because kuna ule mwenye, if only you were self-aware, ujikumbuke hata wewe useme, hata mimi kuna area mimi uongeleshwa. Unaweza nga kuona mtoto wako mmoja, huyu ni wa kuongeleshwa. Utamuongelesha na atasikia. But ukianza kukuwa na hiyo lack of self-awareness, in essence, what African parents are doing is just beating up their kids for nothing. And that's why they're not learning.
And you use in words.
Eh.
You know, the words that you use on your children, you'll actually follow them. Ukimwita ng'ombe, hiyo itaingia kwa akili bila ikatenda shule aseme gai bedhe madhi aliniita ng'ombe. So hata behave kama hiyo ng'ombe tu. So we should always speak good words.
When do una create your mtoto
Exactly.
anakufollow wewe, when your biggest inspiration yake. I feel like it's such a big failure in society that kids, when they're asked who do you want to be your role model, you say CG Donald Trump. Why can't you just say dad
Your
and mom?
mom, yeah.
Why does it have to be so complicated that your role model has to be Ruto? It can be dad and mom. And that's how life it is. That's simply parenting. Your role model is your dad or your mom.
Yes.
That's the person you follow. That's the person you imitate.
That's the person you look up to. Very good.
I think on that aspect of self-awareness, I think parents should raise themselves first.
Exactly. Before raising
Yeah,
another
raise
child.
yourself first. Know your weaknesses, know your strengths first. Work on your weaknesses, work on your dislikes.
Yeah.
Once you work on yourself and you perfect that, even if you don't perfect, but you know I'm working on these weaknesses, you'll be able to raise your kids well. And now be a friend to those kids. Be a friend.
Hivyo venye unasema
Yeah.
hata ukija weaknesses zako unaweza just ila utamgonga because
Exactly.
hata wewe utajua
Yeah.
moment of weakness yake.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's what parents should do. Then be friend to them. Create that friendly environment. Not mtoto anytime he or she's disturbed.
Yes.
Ata feel very
Wewe
very
ndo
safe to kuja
home.
open up. Kuja kueleze mom, dad, this and this what happened.
That's true.
But once umekuwa brutal, umekuwa hostile to those kids, ata find someone else aenda muelezee.
Which is
Exactly.
natural.
Yeah.
Which is,
Atenda
yeah.
huko nje and you're not
Exactly.
like what
That's true, yeah. Now, in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 6, it says, chapter 6, verse 6, it says that children obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right, honor your father and mother. And there's a promise there that your days will be added. Now, and then the Bible still continues and says that also, fathers, you should not provoke your children. And parents, especially African parents, feel entitled that my child should respect me, and whatever I do to them, they should not respond, they should not behave in a certain
dishonoring
way.
or something like
Exactly. Yeah, you find that a parent probably has said something or has done something, and clearly you find that this person, this child, this parent has actually provoked the child, and this child is supposed to behave in a certain way because they have been told to dishonor the parents. So tell us, how are children supposed to behave when they are provoked by their children, by their parents? If, for example, my mom like provokes me and I'm like, and you're a mom, what have you done? What have you, am I supposed to just keep quiet or should I tell her? And if I have to tell her, how should I tell her?
Okay, you know, the tongue has a power.
Yes.
That's why I told a father should not provoke your kids. Once you provoke, that's a seed you are sowing.
Yes.
And it depends what seed are you sowing. Even in the parable of the sower, there are seeds which fell in the ground, which fell on the rocks, I think, which fell on a fertile soil. So before you provoke that kid or before you talk bad to her or to him, know what seed are you sowing.
Yes.
And the seed you are sowing is what you'll harvest later. So once you start provoking your kids at that tender age, what normally happens, the brain records. And everything is stored in the unconscious mind. Once it's stored there, later on life, these things will represent themselves in personality and behavior. So that's why sometimes you find someone having that deviant behavior. Someone is very hostile. You try to look on the background. It's because how he was brought up, how the parents were, how the parents used to nurture him or
Yes.
how they used to neglect him. So whatever happened since you were a kid, it presents itself once you grow up. That's why unapata maybe mzee ana behave kama watoto. There is a stage in life ambayo aliskip. And if you skip that stage in life, itafika mahali inataka kujireplace. Inataka lazima you fulfill that for that life to be
Yes.
fulfilled.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how do I know that my child is emotionally stressed? Maybe Jennifer can answer that. So, for example, there are those symptoms there are those signs you would know that my child is not well, and they don't actually. Probably it's my fault. How do I know that my child is actually emotionally stressed? And well, those symptoms, those signs that I should look out for.
Yeah, for me, I think me and my daughter, there's a way I can approach something that she has done something wrong,
Yes.
and I shout, and then she will behave like she's scared. And the next time she does that, and she realizes I'm seeing, she will just, and I have to like, Mama, it's okay, don't do it again, to make up for that. So I think you should just know how to approach your child. This is your child.
Yes.
Just know how to approach them. You know how they behave when they do this. This is your kid. You're supposed to know her inside out. So I think it's how you approach them. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Then another thing, you'll just start their behaviors. You know your kids how they behave. If you have 3 kids, you know all of them how they behave. A disturbed kid, you'll just see a change in behavior. Maybe you just to come home, you see how he comes, embraces you, maybe jumps, whatever is happy. But now, it finds today you've come home and you find the kid is just there, very low mood. So you'll start asking yourselves, you'll just know there is something wrong with that kid.
Yes.
So try to read that behavior, how he normally behaves, and today maybe she has changed. Try even to read the mood of the kid. You know if someone is happy or if the kid is happy and is not happy. So try to identify those characteristics,
Yes.
and we'll be able to tell maybe if this kid is disturbed or this kid is okay.
Yeah.
But I think behavior is the main. You'll just start the behavior and you know, okay, today there was something wrong. Then call her or have time with him. Just go outside, maybe have a walk. Daddy, mommy, what happened? What's wrong? Are you good? I'm your dad. I'm your mom. Try
Yeah.
to explain.
Actually, that's where culture comes in. Like you will hear a parent saying that mtoto akisema, when was the last time ulihug budako? Mimi sijai hug budangu. Yani you find that these little things that people do, like for example telling your parent I love you or telling your mom I love you, inaonekana ni kama like uta lose, inaitwa nini, gangster points. You call them gangster points. So where does culture come in? How does culture influence parenthood? But I think Arianna wanted to say something about how you would tell a child is emotionally stressed.
What I just wanted to use an example. I've often figured that I'm not very different from my mom and dad. See, like, I think because, again, I go back to creating a relationship. I have a very close relationship with my father and my mother. And I mean, if you see me with my dad, you'll think I'm my dad's pet. And if you see me with my mom, I'm my mom's pet. But what ends up happening is the conversations we have. So sometimes maybe when I'm angry, I'll tend to be very quiet and withdrawn. How do I know I'm like my dad? My mom will say, unajua baba yako akinyamaza na withdraw, anakuanga amekasirisha na kitu. I act like that too, right? So it's like, it makes me feel normal. Because sometimes when I'm doing some things and mom amepeana reference na dad, uko like, so here I'm like that. Here I'm like mom. Here I'm like that. Here I'm like mom. What I'm trying to say is often you figure out your kids are not very different from you. So hata ukiona ako withdrawn, usimu approach like this is a foreign object. Tu mtu yeye anaaktaje, mimi sijaiona hii behavior. Try to ask yourself, sasa ile nakwanga nime withdraw. How is it that I like people to approach me? Utapata when you're withdrawn, usually unapendanga, maybe for me, Eva will always just come and like, atakuja kufanya hivi. And it means a lot, right? And it's like, you'll notice if you do the same things you do to treat yourself to your child, often it's the same mechanism, because no matter what, that's why naongelea self-awareness, because self-awareness teaches you how similar you are to your kid.
Yes.
And also it shows, like, self-awareness teaches you why you became a parent, so that you're raising your child intentionally, not as a by the way because nilipata mtu in a life lazima grow. Like unamraise like, this is my body, I made this choice, I wanted this kid to exist, and I'm trying to study to understand this child, and I want to be there. And you can, the more you're doing things with them, you realize, oh, mtu yeye anakasirikanga venye mimi ukasirika. I don't know, you parents are parents. You have children mwenye hata sasa unasema mtoto throw tantrum. If you just sit down properly and observe yourself when you're with your friends, you realize mtu ni wewe, ni venye is a mini version of you.
Yeah.
But self-awareness itakufanya udeny, okay, like umto is a foreign object, and you're gonna treat them distant. Now you trust unajaribu kuricha itaifika because already ni distant. But unaona ukimunderstand, yeah ni wewe. Na mimi, because mimi nakwanga hivyo. Sometimes I get so angry and I'm just like, at that moment nakumbuka tu baba yangu akiniangalia na niambia, you know, you act like your mother sometimes. And it helps. Because while uko nje mtu anaweza niambia, oh, Arianna anakwanga na tantrums na ni psychopath. I know I'm not a psychopath. You should meet my mother because I act exactly like her. You know? You know? It's like self-awareness and relationship. I think cause as is not, they understand it as kushinda na mtu hii. Hapa ati mkiongea ati mkienda na gari pamoja kila mali. But relationship ni kuonyesha huyo mtu hii, mimi ni wewe, wewe ni mimi, na tunasaidiana. Kitu yote unapitia, niko hapa msee, like do you like to throw yourself on the supermarket on the floor? I like it when sometimes I'm just like, I'm very picky with like fashion, and I can go somewhere and I'm like, I don't want that, I don't want that, and I don't want that, and I don't want that, and people are going, oh, she's too picky, she's too fussy. Nani atamfurahisha? Baba mangu anaingia hapo anasema, I don't want that either, I don't want that, and then tumesimama hivi tunakaa twins. What do you think that does for me? Confidence. Because but like watu wengine ndo, because they don't understand it, wame perceive as she's stubborn. But mamangu anajua I know exactly what I want. So yeah, ameingia tu kuaffirm. Inakuwa like the parent is the affirmation to the child's character. And you'll notice mtoi rarely atajaribu ku act out of the norm.
Exactly.
Ako accepted.
So make your kids your best friend.
Yeah, like it's your best friend, but see best friend sana. Your best friend kuna hiyo kusema best friend inakuwa like you're no longer the parent.
Yeah, I think you should not be a peer to him.
There should
Just
be
a friend, don't
some
be a
boundaries.
peer.
I mean,
Yeah.
like mtu yafai kufeel that I have anger tantrums as if ametoka space.
Yes.
Anafaa kuja have anger tantrums because genuinely if I sit down with daddy, react the same exact way as me.
Well, of course, thank you so much, Arianna, for those insights. Very, very important. And of course, those who are watching us live on Facebook, please make sure that you have commented and don't forget to share for more of these episodes. And before we go to the comments, I had talked about how culture affects parenting, because you will find like in the African setup, in African family and in the Western family, there are those certain things that we normally do. For example, usikia ati huwezi hug budako, huwezi ambia parent wako unampenda. How does culture affect parenting?
Okay, culture has both the positive and the, let's say, the negative aspects. And let's say, for example, there's a difference between the Western culture and the African culture. The African culture was maybe there should be a gap between maybe a daughter and let's say the father.
Yes.
But now you'll find maybe in the stages of development, I don't know if you have ever seen this. There is a certain age a kid gets, let's say if she's a lady, she's a girl, she's so much attracted to the father that time. There's a stage there.
Yes.
If he's a boy, he's so much attracted to the mother. And now you'll find maybe the mother is pushing that boy away. The father is pushing that girl away. It's not supposed to happen that way because it's a stage and she has to undergo that. What should happen there during that time? She should now be a role model. Show him, embrace that kid. Once you deny her that privileges, now we find nowadays wasichana wanaendea babas.
Yeah.
Because she needed that love, that father love, but who could provide. Because in Naitwaga, it's called the Electra complex in ladies. They say it's the ladies develop sexual desires towards the dad. It's there in psychology. But now what happens here as a father, you should understand this stage. Just embrace her. Be a role model. Show him that good love, that good caring. Don't try to take advantage of that kid. So you can satisfy that need. Later on in life, you'll make good relationship. But once you deny her, it gets to a point now she wants to get that father love. Then she'll go for babas. You'll find maybe a lady in an abusive relationship. Unapigo, unachapwa, but you can't get out because there are stage up or skip.
There's something you missed.
And you have to satisfy yourself. You have to fulfill that. So I think culture, people should sit down and try to identify the culture. Is this culture talking something positive or something negative? If it's something good, let's embrace it. If it's something negative, then I think tunaanza chana nayo. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of, you talked about getting attracted to dads. Okay, it actually does happen. So there are these little things that we normally ignore as parents. Like, for example, our girls, how should you sit in front of your dad? Because we know that the world is changing. Unapata msichana kwa nyumba, amevaa t-shirt, amekaa tu venye anataka. And sometimes I normally even tell my students, even, for example, when your dad comes in or when your parent comes in, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to behave? Because you cannot tell me that mimi kama msichana na teenager, I'm all grown, my dad ameketi hapa na nimekaa hivi venye nataka, I'm all in a booty short and all that. And if I'm a mom and my child is already a teenager, my son is already a teenager, am I supposed to kuingia kwa room yake na namfanyia vitu zingine? So tell us some of these things that we should not do. We should not allow our children. What should we advise our teenagers as they are growing? Because they are becoming more like us, but these these behaviors that you normally ignore that could later on even lead to dire consequences. Maybe you can talk about that.
Okay, just talk to your kids. And when she gets to a certain, in fact, one thing I say is how you dress you as a parent. Kid will learn that.
Yes,
We say
exactly.
behavior is learned. So how you as a mother, you dress in front of the husband, the kids will embrace that. How the father dress, how he behaves, behavior is learned and it's transferred. So try to mold your kids. Tell them maybe when dad is home, have a kaleso, funga leso.
Yes.
Or when you are in front of men, try to funga leso. Don't dress or don't advertise yourself. Don't try to show yourself to.
And these
don't
obvious, and these obvious behaviors of ati anko nani ameingia ama baba nani ameingia. Kuna mwenye aliniambia, and I don't know if you're going to quote me wrong, that there's a certain age where your daughter will get, you should not allow them to sit on your lap as a dad. Somebody told me that, na nikafikiria ati kama mi kujo nikalie. I don't know if it affects dad psychologically, I don't know. Somebody just told me that, and I thought that I'd say that on air because maybe some parents, maybe, I don't know, maybe you can say something about that.
I feel like it starts with establishing boundaries with your kids when they're young. Because you see, I think the most important lesson before starting a family is also understanding why you're a man and why you're the father, the woman understanding why you're a mother, and also understanding what the marriage is and what the impact will be for the children. Why I'm saying that is because that way you can establish proper boundaries. I feel like squeezy, a lot of parents have a lot of familiarity with their kids. You don't draw boundaries when they're a kid. And I will start by saying, do you sit on your father's chair? I mean, you kitu inakanga so innocent that you actually, it's so innocent. Like, come on, what's the problem with sitting on your father's chair? But you see, the problem with sitting on your father's chair is not that the kid understands there's something wrong. It's just that ukimwonyesha anaweza kaa on the father's chair, there's this sense of we are equal. Uja create the proper boundaries. It's not that ukimwambia don't sit here. It's not supposed to be ati akikukalia sasa tina collect. You're not supposed to sit on your father's chair. Get out of here. But it's supposed to be a lesson where you say you don't sit on papa's chair because the father is the head of the home, the mother, the way you don't sit on the magistrate's chair, you don't sit on the president's chair, you don't sit on the CEO's chair, these are lessons you're supposed to be teaching your children, why you shouldn't sit on your father's chair. Akisha establishes of boundaries clear in the head, that there's this kuna hii authority system. You don't need to keep fighting with them ati ameva booty shot in front of the father, because automatically kwa akili yake itakuwa ina process, this is daddy. I see my sister, like, while she's very curvy and stuff, but babanga kingia kwa nyumba sistangu change. Why? It's not that babanga anakuanga like ati, oh Kela, why are you dressing like this? But in our family, there's this clear hierarchy that has been established, that this is daddy, this is mom, this is me, this is Kela, and this is how the family runs. And if you don't respect the boundaries of how the family runs, it's gonna create contradictions that are gonna lead to fights. So automatically, we don't sit on daddy's chair. Automatically, as a teenager, you don't sit on your father's lap. I mean, it's not because ati dunia inafaa kukuambia ati you're doing the wrong thing. You should be able to think automatically. At 16, what the hell am I sitting on my father's lap? Like, you need, it's not supposed to be ati oh, you are not in this, you're not disciplined. It starts with ukiwa mtoi, akiwa mtoi.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of parents miss it. Akiwa mtoi, that's when you're establishing the rules.
Yes.
Akipita age fulani hata uimbe, hata umpige, hata umuue. It's done. It's done. Like, I mean, naweza muongelesha mkwe mabeshte na nini, but anafanya vitu ku behind the scenes venye tu akuonyeshi. But if you don't establish your authority, like, don't sit on daddy's chair, not because I hate you, not because it makes you a prostitute if you sit with me, not because you're doing a sin, but because sipo akukalia kiti ya pastor, sipo akukalia kiti ya magistrate. I mean, it's common sense. Wezi tika mtoto wako ingie kwa kote enda akalie kiti ya magistrate. The same thing umemfunza kwa nini asikalie hiyo kiti, mbona usimfunza asikalie kiti ya babake? Because ukimiss hizo stages, that's why anakuwa teenager, ashajizoea we ni equal, mmezoeana, kuna boundaries. And while inakaa ni love language, kuna boundaries mulikosa kuestablish, and that is why it is happening.
It's true. All right. Great address there. So another thing I wanted to ask is parents who haven't given, like step parents. For example, like I'll give an example. If, for example, you have a stepwife who has not bore the children, they're not the biological children, but they don't have a good relationship with your wife at that moment. So how are you supposed to handle that to make sure that the mother who has stepped in for those children has a good relationship? For example, your daughter and your wife at that moment hawana a good relationship. Sindio? So how are you supposed to balance that as a father to ensure that they have a good relationship? Because this is your family. Sindio? We also have such cases where even girls will approach, will be like, my stepmother ananinyima chakula, my stepmother ananitesa, I feel that my stepmother doesn't love me, my stepdad is doing this and this. So how are you able to balance such kind of relationships?
Yeah, for me, I think from the very start, as a man, you should make it clear to this
Children.
second wife. No, not even children. This is your children. You should be on their side. You should make it clear to this woman who is coming in, this is my children, this is how it goes, you have to follow or leave. I think as a man, from the very start, make it clear to this stepmother, because these are your children. The mother is not there. You're the mother, you're the father. So make it clear to this wife, my children are this, like this. They make effort to get to know each other. Make it easy for me. Yeah, she should come and be the role model as a mother.
But there are those children who are actually very difficult. The stepmother is very good. She's ready to embrace the children as her own, but the children are very complicated. They're like, you will never fill in the gap of my mom.
I know,
So how are you supposed to go about such kind of, because you're torn in between two, you love them all. So you're torn in between as a man, or even as a stepdad. You've brought a stepdad at home, and your son clearly doesn't love the stepdad, and the stepdad probably is a good person. So how are you able to balance that? Should you kick out one, or who should you choose?
I think you are a grown-up here. These are your children. They are teenagers. I think it's love. Show them love. Whatever they do, be patient and show them love. Correct them with a lot of love. It will start from there, and they will realize she's not bad after all. It's just a
putting
mother.
effort.
Yeah, she's putting effort. I think it's love. Just correct them with a lot of love. I think that would do.
Okay, I think here communication is the key. Before bringing that woman into this house, explain to her. Tell that woman what you need. Also go to your kids, talk to them. Tell them, okay, I want to bring someone. Are you comfortable? Negotiate with them. When they accept that, I think now you can go ahead. But you'll find most of the parents, maybe mom is not there, or okay, maybe mom passed on. You now decide to make a decision for yourself. I think the kids will be so rebellious because they know you buried our mom. So is it an advantage you are taking because now she's no longer there? You bring another woman. So explain to them, I'm bringing this woman in this house because of ABCD.
Yes.
So they will clearly understand because why this woman is here. Okay, we have to embrace her now as our mother because our mother had gone. So we have to transfer that energy to this woman. I think by doing that, these kids will love that woman. Yeah, and even make sure that woman treats these kids the way you want.
Exactly.
Explain to her, these are my kids and I expect such and such.
Yes.
Yeah, don't just go now out of nowhere and just bring a woman there.
And of course, as a grown-up, you don't take some behavior personally. You be like, hai leo nani aliamka akiwa na mood swing, then you're like, ata mimi atajua mimi ni nani, atajua mimi ni bibia, you know. So it's just being the mature person, and of course knowing that you are way ahead of the children. You are the one with the more mature brain, and of course handle the situation. Ama you will kusema kitu about that. Okay, so maybe as we wind up the show, maybe you can just give us quick tips of good parenting. Just a few quick tips of good parenting. How we these few tips unafaa kufanya nini during this holiday month, tunafaa kufanya nini ndio to make sure that tumekuwa na relationship fiti, watoi wametupenda na tumewapenda na tumeweza kuwa rectify to mold them all round. Tell us those tips.
Okay, I think kitu ya kwanza vile nilisema about communication, what you talk, what you say.
Yes.
Watoto wako watachukua that energy. how you talk and what you talk. So I think the communication is the key. Just create that safe environment, communicate to them. Na ukikuja from school, you'll find most of the parents, mtoto ameingia, the first thing, wapi report?
Manze.
Acha mtoto akuje, embrace them, dad, mom, how was school? Hata leo nimepikia kakuku, how do you feel? At least once you create that safe environment, huyu mtoto hata kitambo anze kumuuliza how was school life atakuexplainia. So first of all, welcome them. Vile wao unakaribisha mgeni, ukikuja just welcome them. Feel, show them that love. Wakaribishwa, wapike chakula mzuri, and even go and cook with them. Pika na wao hapo jikoni. Pika, then wakati maybe now you're dining there, ask them how was the experience at school.
Yes.
Explore now their life at school kwanza, wakuelezee. You will find a kid explaining, anakwambia even kuna mwalimu fulani ananikatia. Kuna mwalimu fulani, he or she is so abusive. But ameingia ukaanza wapi report?
Manze.
Huyo mtoto umesha.
Kama amefail, yeah. Wengine walikuwa wamepata hewa, ulipata si kwa nini? Yeah?
So kitu ya kwanza after sasa create that good communication, then that safe space, then explore now school life. After I'm explaining the school life now, is there now uanze kuuliza mambo na report. Hata utafine before hata ufike hapo amekuletea report mwenyewe, amekuletea school fee balance. So how you relate, how you communicate, what you do. Then have some fun with them. Try fanyeni hata mchezo kwa nyumba. It's allowed. Just play with your kids and indoors activities, outdoors activities. Just have a nature walk with them. Sometimes hata fungeni your TV out of social media. Just have a nature walk. Tembea badia Rangers hapo.
Speaking of TV, kabla tuendelee, tunafaa kupatia watu wetu ma phones and all that, and how are you able to control that?
Okay, you can give them usodinai. That's why I told you we are in Gen Z generation. Usijaribu kusema sisi wakati wetu kuwa na simu. Asikuwa. Hiyo ni wakati wenu, it's your era. And now in this era. Mpatia simu but with conditions. Mweleze hii simu nataka utumie time fulani. At least kuwa na those guidelines. Once umempatia guidelines ataelewa. But ukimnyima simu utapata ameenda amenunua simu mahali.
Yeah. So there's a line between giving them independence and also being a strict parent, right?
Mwache suaje mweleze tu hii simu kuna hivi kuna vitu mbaya kuna hivi. Yeah. So ukimpatia hizo guidelines ataelewa. Then ajue screen time ni gani na time maybe ya kufanya masomo. So kuwa na timetable. Mwambie, then kuna another thing of motivating your kids. Unaweza mwambia once you achieve this, mimi nitakuongezea maybe 1 hour exam. So mtoto atakuwa akiwork hard maybe to achieve a certain grade because you promise him something good. So vile una relate na wao, vile unaongea, how you motivate them. Hiyo pia
it's very important.
Sure.
Okay, so more tips of good parenting. Maybe somebody who wants to add on that, Arianna, maybe you can one more tip, like maybe tunaweza angalia as good parents what we can do. And we are speaking generally about kids who are younger and of course those who are in the teenage. And tunafaa kuachilia tu hii lini tukisema like sasa nimekuachilia kwa dunia ama it goes on and on and on. By the way, when are you supposed to draw the line? Say, sasa you uko peke yako sasa.
Okay, I think kuachilia watu hii, I think from age 18 to 35 there. Okay, acha nirudi nyuma. There is this once the kids are in teenage, there is something called something like role confusion. Akiwa from age 12 to age 18. This is the time unapata kid ukimuuliza whom do you want to be when you grow up? Today atakwambia pilot, tomorrow engineer, after 3 days a doctor. Because there is that role confusion and identity crisis. You'll find if it's a lady, she'll spend more time kwa mirror. Antaka kujijua that identity. Who am I? Who is this Washera? Am I brown? Am I black? Is my body curvy? How is my... You see, those things. In a boy child, and a battle na like bicep, triceps, try kuangalia chest yake. Yeah, so there's that confusion. So this is the time a mother or a parent, you should be a mentor, you should be a coach at this age. Why are you being a coach? Because you are preparing that kid in the next stage of life.
That's
so
true.
Prepare umweleze hata wakati ana choose career, you'll find most of the kids fail here. Anakwambia anaenda university 1 year, anafanya engineering, anarudi anakwambia mama, that course miss jaipenda. Anafanya medicine 1 year, amekuja. Because there's that confusion up. Like try to guide her. Mwambie maybe kwa nini unataka kufanya doctor, mwambie advantages za doctor na disadvantages. Advantages za engineer na disadvantages. Then ask her opinion. What do you want to be? Akwambie ina hii. Then mwambie kwa nini. Let him give you the reasons kwa nini anataka kuwa. But you'll find in African setups, because mama ni mwalimu na dad mwalimu, watoto wote ni walimu.
Okay.
But you ask them, wanakwambia me it's because my parents forced me. So try to create that environment. Waulize kwa nini unataka kuwa hii. Go Google, go do your research. Why you want to be so and so. Then after sasa ameweza hata form 4, sometimes nasemaga give them a break of like 1 year.
Yes.
Ajirealize. But we'll find amaliza tu form 4 September intake ameenda college. Ujampatia time, let him rest kwanza, ajirealize. Then after now 18, after maybe she's done with college, now sasa unaweza muamua, because now this is the time she want to form an intimate relationship, aingie kwa marriage, na hapo sasa endelee. So I think after 18 or after let's say 21, unaweza sasa mwambie sasa umeonaje, akiamua aende afanye barua, allow him aende aanze kujitegemea. Yeah.
Okay, so before we even wind up, before we move on to more parenting skills, I see that there's an audience and probably they will want to ask questions. Maybe somebody among us, the audience, would want maybe to comment or probably ask any question. You can ask the panel.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm Kenneth. I just wanted to comment. The topic was very healthy. It was well elaborated. You have more insights. I think I saw the parents, they have more insight. So it's just a comment, and I saw a photo that was saying there's a time you realize when you are a dad and when you are a father. So a dad is someone who is very warming and anakuja mnacheka naye, but when you are a father, you discipline, you cane. This is when you cane. So, and that is something that I think you have really elaborated on that, and I've realized that the photo, what it was saying, it has actually come up in that talk, and you have really elaborated. So there's a time you are a mom and you are a mother.
A mother.
Yes, where you know, mom is someone who comes with chips.
And there's
Mom is
wewe.
mom ni ule mtu anakuchekesha, anakuinua, come baby, I lift you up. Lakini when you are the mother, hey, macho tu. Toro,
Yes.
go sleep now. So that's when, and I think that's the main difference, because where you're asking about the culture and those people that wenye walikuwa wanasema mambo ya nini, how to approach mambo ya culture and parents. Like our fathers used to step in the house, everybody goes to sleep. Why are we sleeping? We didn't even know where we are sleeping, just because that was a male figure. And then he was walikuwa wanaanza kuongea from the gate, and stuff. So everybody was moving, so everybody was like helter skelter, mnagongana na sister yako, mnajifanya mlikuwa mnasoma and you're not studying by then. So like they were so respected. Unlikely this time the Generation Z, as you are saying.
Wait, is that what you call respect? Would you like to be the kind of a dad who just enters the house and everybody just goes to sleep for nothing?
We feared them. Even
is it healthy?
It was not healthy by then. Lakini saizi wazazi wa sahi wanaingia, mtoto anamrukia daddy. So that's when you are the daddy. But when you become the father, you become someone else. And I think those boundaries, as you have said, we never said, I've never told my father I love him. I've never. Even my mother ni juzi tu nimwambia, anakwambia mama I love you. Na ni ngumu hata kutoka, inakuanga ngumu kumwambia. Ukikumbuka vile alikukanyaga, you feel like I'm still not convinced that. Hata kuna wakati mzazi alinichapa, nikauliza my grandmother, you know mama, it like, is this my mother? Juvila na kukanyaga, it was out of frustration, single parenting, and then wameachana na Buddha, it was hurting. So anaona mimi nakaa budangu like stubborn nini, ananikanyaga. So mpaka unauliza shosho, is this my mom? Yes, your mother, you are real, my real. Am I adopted?
Ile vita umepiga unashangaa.
Yeah, so but now she's approaching the age of 50, 60. Sasa anataka kuitwa shosho. Sasa ameanza kutulia. She's now the mom I was looking for back then.
And I don't know why it changes.
Inachangingi.
My mom venye alinipiga, haizi piga kwanza ukijaribu kuchapa the grandchild.
Exactly.
Tingana nake, wachana na yeye. Lakini wewe unamuuliza mama ile vitu ulinieke.
Exactly. So they are becoming the moms we wanted them to become that time. Suddenly ile tu International Women's Day, Happy Mother's Day, those are the times we are now seeing the moms we were looking for back then. Exactly. And then the same way venye tu nimeona. The topic was so great, and keep up guys, and I love to hear more and more and more.
Thank you so much Ken. Ken has always been our number one fan. I think Ariana alikuwa nataka kusema kitu. Nimeona akitisha microphone. Or before we go to Ariana, probably there's somebody else in the audience who wants to comment or probably even ask a question. Teddy, I can see that you're in the audience. Umejisunda kwa corner. Maybe you can come closer and maybe you can give a comment. And by the way, today we are going to have Saturday Night Live. So please stick around because also Teddy atakuwa pale hivi, atakuwa na to entertain. So Teddy, karibu sana. It's always so good to see you.
Asanteni sana.
Yes.
Mko na show fiti inaendelea hapa, nimelearn a lot hata kama sijakuja dakika mingi, but hizo dakika nimekuja nimelearn vitu kadha wa kadha. Niko nataka kuuliza swali. Niko nataka kuuliza, what if tuseme ukilia mtoi ama tuseme ulipata mtoi during your young ages and tunaambia go mtoto na learning from the age 1 to 7, right? So unapata maybe kwa hiyo miaka yake akikuwa you are a different person. Maybe labda ulikuwa mse violent, maybe ulikuwa unagombana, like unajua mko young so kuna vitu maybe aliwatch na aka-adapt, and then unapata sasa ndio nilikuwa nataka kuuliza, in future zile vitu mtu yeye alishika kama vile alikusoma, itafika mahali Jovius atakuwa mtu mzima atakumbuka vitu, kuna mahali itafika like venye anakuonanga sasa ikuwe reverse, like akudharau ama kukosea heshima juu maybe alikuwa ukichapa mamake, ama maybe aliona mamako akikufanya mamake akikufanya kitu, inaweza muaffect akiwa mkubwa. Hiyo ndo tu swali.
Okay, so Frank, I think Frank can handle that. Maybe you can pass the microphone. That's a very good question, and I'm pretty sure it's also affecting other people out there.
Yeah, basically vile umeuliza, it will affect him or it will affect her. Vile nilisema hapo nikianza, nilisema whatever you do, mtoto anabsorb, and whatever you tell him, whatever he sees, it is stored in the unconscious mind. Once it's stored there, baadaye inajipresent in a certain behavior. That will find there is someone with a lot of anger issues. Sikupenda kwake is because he or she learned this behavior tangu wake mdogo. How he used to treat the mom, so anaona maybe msichana na kupigwa. That's why in most of the marriages you find a husband just beating the wife anyhowly. Now to him it's very correct because she learned this behavior. So at that age, let's say at age 7, una sasa educate this kid, because you'll find that from age 1 to age 3, as a parent you're supposed to be provider. You provide everything to that kid. Ikifika age 3 to age 12, una supposed to be a role model. Let your kid see what you're doing. So role model si anasoma. That's why nenio Arianna alisema hapa, ukiuliza mtoto anataka kuwa anakuambia I want to be like Nelson Mandela, I want to be like so and so. So in that role model unaona maybe I messed up in like 4 years nilimess. So now try to shape your character. Try to be a different dad. Ile role model yako mwambie, okay, dad, mwanamke afai kupigwa, mama afai kupigwa. Start embracing the mom. Ukifika hapo hata hug mom, ataona oh, so there is love. So atakuwa brain yake itakuwa na absorb the positive things, the good thing. So hata kama kuna the bad things alikuwa amestore in the unconscious part, zinaanza kufade away. But ukimwacha hivyo itafika in an age sasa huyu mtoto atakuwa very aggressive. She can't obey laws. Ataona tu kama ni mwanamke na kuchapo. Ataenda tu mahali just slapping a leg, and to him it's very okay. So try to make that nasemaga behavior has 3 aspects, because he learned this behavior. Try to make her unlearn this behavior, and by unlearning new behavior you make him you relearn. Unlearning new behavior will make him relearn something new. Once she relearn new thing, ile behavior mbaya itakuwa unlearn ikatoka. So try to coach him, try to provide that good environment, that therapeutic environment. Ajue mama tunafaa kuishi hivi, tunafaa kurelate in this way. Atakuwa na absorb the good things. Yeah.
There's also children who didn't grow up with their parents, and I think it's about choices. When you're a grown up, it's about choices. It's not about what you grew up knowing or stuff. It's about choices. Like me, I grew up without both parents, and you can't tell me I can just do anything because I didn't have anyone to tell me do this, do that. Sometimes it's choices. What you feel like doing, choices. And most of the time, people may tend to make the wrong choices because they feel like I have the right. Nobody can tell me this. It's about choices. When you are a grown up, it's about choices.
Yes.
It's not all about parent and stuff. You can also make your own choices. You can do the right thing. Because believe me, there's people who grew up seeing their father beat their mom, and right now he can't touch a woman because he made that choice. I will never be like my
Yes.
dad. I will never be like my guardian. It's about choices. When you are grown up, it's about choices. Don't um
You don't have
stay
to follow.
behind, yeah,
Yes.
like behind, like it's my mom. No, you are a grown up, you are responsible for what you do.
Yes.
So make the right choices.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
always about the choices that you make, right?
And also the environment. Maybe you grew up without the parents, but now the environment, you grew up in a safe environment. Maybe the aunties, the shosh, they were there to embrace you. They show now this is the way. So even before him or her making choice, you have to guide her. Show him. Wakati atamake hizo decision utakuwa umemguide, at least umempatia some
Yes.
platform hapo, ndo ata end up making the good choices. But ukimwacha hivyo kitambo afike age ya kumake choices, itakuwa maybe ameenda stream au miaka imeenda. So try make him make the good choices at that tender age, at that young age. Yeah.
All right. So great insights there. So maybe we can have a parting shot from Arianna. Amenyamaza sana. So I'm pretty sure you want. Sorry. Oh yeah, yeah. My director Dominic is reminding me of talking about the arts. So, so we have the arts here, and if you haven't watched this episode that I interviewed the artist, so you can look at this art. It's all nature. You can look at the other one. He has so many arts that he has done. He's a student at Dekut University, then at Kemathi University. So his name is Josh, and you can follow him on his social media platform at Eshis. Oh my goodness, but they queen me. Eshi's arts, we're going to put that on the description. Make sure that you have promoted him. He sells these arts here in Nyeri. You can always follow him on all the social media platforms, and of course promote his work. As you can see, this is brilliant work. And of course, do not forget to visit our cinema. We showcase movies. We have shows like this. Please make sure that you come. Like today, we have Saturday Night Live. You can always come. The entry is only 100 Kenya shillings. So just buy a soda, your popcorn, and you chill and you get entertained. And of course, we do have a studio here called Showtime Studios, where we take photography, videography, live streams. So make sure you visit us right here at Pumpkin House, and make sure that you join us today for Saturday Night Live. So as we wind up the show, maybe Arianna, you can give us a parting shot, and of course any other person who wants to say something to maybe advise our parents and our kids out there to make our relationships much better.
One more thing.
Yes.
I would love to say, like, when we were in high school, you come back, you're in a boarding school, you come back and your parent or your guardian doesn't know how to approach you because you've changed. Literally, you have changed. I think you should observe and learn your child, because she's learning stuff from school.
Yes.
And then here you come, you don't know where to start. Just observe every time she comes home, and you know what angle to approach them with.
Exactly, because there are other things like bullying happening,
Yeah.
and you don't know whether your child has gone through that. So you take your time. When your child comes home, as Jennifer has told us, take time to observe her behavior. If there's something off, take time to sit them down, because that's where the friendship now comes in. Sit down. I can see that you're off, you're not happy, what's happening. Have a conversation with them. You don't have to always judge them negatively. Kids are human beings.
Yeah,
Teenagers are human beings, and just like you. And so make sure that you form that foundation where you can have a real conversation with your child. So maybe you can have a parting shot. What you can tell the audience something where they can follow you on your social media platform.
Yeah, at Wangoi on all my social media account. Facebook, Jennifer Wangoi. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jennifer. So Frank, maybe you can tell them something, and of course also give your social media platforms.
Okay, I think my parting shot is about, let's say, our African parents. African parents, I think they normally think like their children are like an investment. You think like children is like your property. The same way you have a cow, you feed that cow, and at the end of the day, you milk that cow. That's how our African parents think we are. So you'll find our parent will raise you. It gets to a certain age, maybe you've got a job, maybe you've started a business. Now that's the time your parent will like you like to pay back the black taxation.
Yes,
It
yeah.
comes in there. Yeah, atakwambia sasa mimi nilikusomesha. So I think now it's your responsibility to take care of now your siblings. So that's very bad. I think it's not your responsibility as maybe as a firstborn or as that kid who is so much maybe involved in that parent or committed in that family to take care of your siblings or to educate your siblings.
Yes.
It's the responsibility of their parents. That's their responsibility. And it's indicated clearly, I think in Proverbs 13:22, if I'm not wrong. a good father or a good man leaves inheritance to his children. So it's the work of our parents to leave inheritance and to make sure watoto wao wote wamewasomesha.
Wamekaa vizuri.
Once you get job, you start a business, ni wewe sasa na life yako maybe na your family. But hiyo issue of black taxation ikikuja hapo, that's why I find the African way tunakuwa tu maskini. Because you wasted a lot of energy educating your siblings. So ikifika now your time sasa ule unapata hiyo pesa yote inaenda kwa ndugu zako. So it gets to a point hata wewe unalea mtoto sasa unangojea hata yasomeshe ndugu zako. So I think that thing inspired me, so nikaanza show ambayo inajiita Tuchapiane Show in YouTube, ambao I talk about those things affecting, let's say, most the Africans way. So you can follow me on YouTube, Tuchapiane Show, Frank Boma. Alafu Facebook najiita Frank Shylock Jr. Twitter ni Frank Boma na Instagram pia ni Frank Boma.
Thank you so much. Definitely make sure you follow them on the social media platforms. Thank you so much. Umesema inaitwa je show?
Tuchapiane.
Tuchapiane, exactly. That should tell you something. Tupigane vibe maze, tubonge. It's a freestyle thing you can only
exactly. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Frank. So maybe Arianna, you can give them your parting shot, and of course, where people can get you on your social media.
I think like my parting shot will be parenting actually starts in singleness. It doesn't start when you become a parent. It starts in singleness. It starts when you are a single person and you make decisions that make you a role model to yourself. And then when you're a role model to yourself, you can pick someone who's a role model to themselves. And then when you pick someone who's a role model to themselves, you're both an example, and the family structure can start from a good foundation. I mean, parenting starts from the foundation of the home. So all I would say is I don't think there's a formula to parenting, and I don't think there's any single way to parenting, and I don't also believe that sitting here and talking about all the ways of parenting can actually give you a formula how to parent yourself. But what I hope that you get from this show is that parenting is something that everyone is growing in, everyone is learning. It's a process for everyone. It's also your mom's and dad's first time to live on earth. So it's not like parenting should not be like mom is perfect, you know, because it's also her first time, right? And it's also dad's first time. So I feel like it just starts from singleness, making the right decisions, being a role model to yourself. That way, even when you have a child, you're not constantly thinking, am I behaving right? Am I acting right? Am I misleading them? Am I abusing them? It's just like if you're acting naturally, to your child, it's just going to be something to emulate. It's not going to be something that is a process. Also, I felt like there was a question about where you said that what if you made mistakes when your child was young. There's hope to that. I mean, I've experienced families where the father was totally messed up and the mother. But when the kids grow up and the father changes the character and I establish relationship now, onyesha why I changed, the kids actually embrace it. I have seen so many families that have actually reformed from just the parents accepting that we have faults and we want to change. I feel